What's up? I'm Christine. If you're new here, welcome. Today I'm going to do some canning. It is freezing rain outside and snowing, and I thought today would be the perfect opportunity to get some canning done. I do have quite a few vegetables left over that I don't want to go to waste, so I think that canning vegetable soup is the perfect way to go. And also, it is one of my favorite things to can because it's very popular here and it goes pretty quick. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so I'm going to be using about 8 cups of everything here. And then I do have a full onion that I chopped up, as well as 6 cloves of garlic. And then as for the base, I just went ahead and threw all of the tomatoes and everything in the stock pot because there's too much to put into bowls. But I used 13 cups of crushed tomatoes and 10 cups of tomato sauce, 8 cups of diced tomatoes, as well as 4 cups of homemade chicken stock. So for the seasoning, I'm going to be using 2 tablespoons of everything. So that would be parsley, thyme, pepper, oregano, and salt. This is what we're working with. I added a lot of seasoning because, as you can see, it is a lot of vegetable soup. Done any amount of canning. You may have noticed that this is no small project. I am doing it by myself, so it is going to take quite a bit of time, but I'm prepared to stay up till wee hours in the morning to get it done. I mean, I've stayed up till 2, 3 in the morning canning before, so it's not a big deal to me. I'm just keeping that end goal in mind of having all the jars on the table perfectly sealed and having lots more food to throw in the pantry. So I've already got my towel set out. I have my my funnel. This is actually for just the regular jars, but I mean, I'm going to use it for the wide mouth jars, so that's fine. And of course, gotta have my handy dandy grabber. And I definitely don't want to lose this. I'm going to be using 10 pounds of pressure because where I live, obviously, it depends on the elevation where you live, but I'm going to be using 10 pounds of pressure. Thing to make sure of, though, is even with brand new jars, you still got to check the ring at the top. You always want to make sure that the top of the ring is perfectly flat, because I've bought new jars before and they had just like a mild defect that just completely ruins the canning process, where it's just not going to seal. So now I'm going to sterilize the jars for about 10 minutes. I'm going to bring it to a boil, leave the lid on there just resting. And once I dump the water out of the jars, I find that there's plenty of water left over in the canner for pressure canning that I don't have to add anymore. So now I'm going to go ahead and fill all the jars and leave about 1 inch of headspace at the top. That's about half of the stock pot. This is a 16 quart stock pot, and I just filled up 7 of these quart jars. And now I'm going to clean off the tops of the jars with vinegar, and then I'm going to screw the lids and the rings on just finger tight. And then I'm going to put them all in the pressure canner and make sure they're not touching. And I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of vinegar because I do have hard water. Alright, so one thing you do always want to remember to do is look through this little hole to make sure that it is not blocked or anything. You want to make sure that there's nothing on there that is completely clean. You want to make sure that it doesn't have anything on the ring or anything like that, and that you do still have a good seal too. That could really set you back quite a bit of time if you start canning and then it starts dripping, leaking out in one area. Then you just want to immediately stop what you're doing. And I've seen people put clamps on their pressure canner to clamp it down. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to just make sure that the seal is good right from the start. All right. You also want to make sure that your arrows are lined up. So I'm going to let it vent steam for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to put the weight on there. And once it starts rocking, then I'm going to set the timer for an hour and a half. And once it's done, I'm going to move it over to the other side of the oven so I can let it cool down. And also got to be very careful when I'm moving it so that way I don't scratch my glass top. Alright, so it's been about 90 minutes. It is now 15 after 8. And I just moved the canner to the other side of the oven where there's no heat. So I'm going to wait on the tab at the top to go down so that way it'll indicate there's no more pressure inside the canner. And then I'll be able to remove the weight. And I'll just wait about 30 minutes or so to do that to make sure that it's safe for me to remove the lid. As you know, it's been building up pressure for an hour and a half. So it's definitely want to be patient in removing the lid. And then I also have the rest of the vegetable soup that I have to can as well. So that's going to be a whole nother process. But I think for that batch, I'm going to throw in some potatoes and change it up a little bit because I do have some potatoes that I need to use up. Still got a little while to go. The tab went down, and now it is safe to take off the weight. So they're still kind of boiling a little bit on the inside. You can just see just a little bit. That'll stop after a while. All right, so it is the next day. I finally got all of the jars out of the canner. I was up till almost 2:30 in the morning, so I didn't get a whole lot of sleep because I didn't want to go to sleep while the pressure canner was going. I made just the right amount of vegetable soup for 14 1-quart jars, so it worked out perfectly. So 7 of the jars have potatoes and the other 7 don't. It was quite a bit of work, but it turned out really well. All the jars sealed, so I'd say that's mission accomplished.